All right, ladies and gentlemen, you may or may not be ready with your fraction pieces cut out yet that I told you to do last week. And if you're not, that's fine. But what I do need is I need everyone's eyes up here, because knowing how to use them is going to be important. And if you're busy just cutting them out and doing other things, you're not going to know how to use them. So your attention should be focused up here on me. We're going to start with adding fractions using our fraction pieces. Last week, I also gave you a website where you could do the virtual fraction pieces, and I did attach that onto this week's Google Classroom as well, or today's Google Classroom as well, so you can fool around with that as you're practicing this. But we're going to take a look at the problem 1/2 plus 1/3. 1/2 plus 1/3. And this is how we're going to use our fraction pieces. We're always going to start by comparing it with 1. We want to find out if our sum is going to be less than or greater than 1. So we take our 1/2, this one's 1/2, and we have our 1/3. So there are my pieces. This is 1, this is 1/2 and 1/3. The reason I have it comparing to the 1 is that tells me my answer is going to be less than 1. Now I can't just add fractions straight across. I can't just make this 2/5. And I can prove to you why it's not 2/5, because fifths are this big. So that is what 2/5 would equal, right here, 2/5. This is 1/2 plus 1/3. Well, obviously, those are not anywhere near the same size. So when we're adding fractions, we don't just add straight across. That's not the way it works. It's not the way any of this works. But what we need to do is we need to find fraction pieces with the same denominator that will fit evenly below this whole space here. So all of the same kind that will fit evenly below the same space there. Does anybody have an idea of what piece would fit below it? Elizabeth?
6.
Sixths. Well, let's see. We can fit our sixths. Well, I know 1/2 equals 3/6, so that's good. And 1/3 equals 2/6. And so now if I add those together, I have the 3/6 plus 2/6, and I'm going to get a sum of 5/6. Okay, so that's using the pieces, basically how it goes. But let me show you, and I don't know if this is what you were thinking, Elizabeth, but last week when we were doing common denominators, and we had the fraction, let's say we had 1/2 plus 1/3, and we had to change those so they had a common denominator. Well, if you remember last week on our common denominator assignment, I listed my multiples, 3, 6, 9, 2, 4, 6. And I found the first one that they had in common. And the first one they had in common was 6. And so I can change both of those fractions to 6 without changing the value. I already said 1/2 equals 3/6. I know 1/3 equals 2/6. And that's where I got my total of 5/6. Let's look at a couple others. Once I find my eraser. All right, we're going to start with 1. We're going to have 1/2 and 3/8 this time. So we're going to have 1/2 plus 3/8. 1/2 plus 3/8. There again, we have 1/2 plus 3/8. We know our answer is going to be, our sum is going to be less than 1 because it's shorter than my 1 whole piece. So it's going to be less than 1. But now I need to find pieces that would fit evenly below the halves and the eighths, so that it would be exactly like it should be there. Anybody have an idea of what denominator we'd want to use there? Bueller? Bueller. Logan, what do you think?
I think it should be 8.
Let's see if eighths works. 1/2 is 4/8. Good. We know 1/2 is 4/8. Now I can add 4/8 plus 3/8. And if I add these all together, I should get a sum of 7/8. One of the assignments that you had last week, fraction sums and differences, this is kind of what you were doing. This is kind of the stuff you were doing last year in 3rd grade or whatever grade you guys were in last year. 2nd, I don't know, what grade were y'all in last year? What if we do 3/4 3/4 plus 1/3. 3/4 plus 1/3. Alex, is my answer going to be less than, greater than, or equal to 1?
Greater than.
Greater than 1, good. My answer will be greater than 1. Very nice. Let's see, Brinley. What pieces do you think will fit exactly underneath that?
One half.
Okay, you want to try 1/2?
Oh,
Good.
sorry. 1 whole.
1 whole. I've got my 1 whole here, so it's going to be greater than 1. But now I have 4ths and 3rds. So I need to find a common denominator or a common multiple for 4 and 3. So if I took my multiples of 4 and my multiples of 3, what's the first one they would have in common? If I did 4, 8, 12, 16, 3, 6, 9, 12. My common denominator is 12, which means 3/4 is going to equal something over 12. And 1/3 is going to equal something over 12. So now take your 12 pieces, and how many 12 pieces fit under 1/4? Somebody tell me how many 12 pieces fit exactly under 1/4. Anybody?
3.
3. So 1/4 equals 3/12. So 3/4 would equal how many 12s?
4.
Well, 1/4 equals 3/12. So 2/4 would equal what?
6.
6. And 3/4 would equal
9.
9. Good. So 3/4 is going to say the same as 9/12. Those values are exactly the same. Written differently, have the same value. Okay? Now we know 12 is our denominator because we found it over here. How many 12ths fit under 1/3? How many 12ths fit under 1/3? Ethan?
4.
4 12ths fit under 1/3. And that is exactly right. So now, I know that 3/4 equals 9/12. 1/3 equals 4/12. And that gives me a total of what? Anybody? 9/12 plus 4/12 is what? Hello?
I know.
9/12 plus 4/12 is 13/12. What's another way of saying 13/12? Elizabeth?
1 whole and 3/12.
Not 1 and 3/12. This is 1 whole right here. How many more twelfths do I need to equal this?
So 1 whole and 1/12.
1 whole and 1/12. Good. So 13/12 equals 1 and 1/12. 1 and 1/12. Let's take, I'm looking at another one. 3, it's already done. All right, I want you to try on your own with your pieces. I want you to do 2/5 plus 3/10. Well, actually, I'm going to write 3 problems up here. I want you to do all 3 of them on your own with your own pieces. And then we'll talk about those. I want you to do 2/5 plus 3/10. Then I want you to do 1/4 plus 1/12. And then I want you to do 1/2 plus 3/10. So you're going to try those 3 problems on your own, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about those 3 problems together. But let me give you a little bit of time to do those. Questions before I cut you loose? If you can figure out how to use the one, the electronic one that's on today's lessons, you can go ahead and do that. Gracias.